I get pissed off, I get frustrated, I feel sad, I do all those things, but I don't stay there. I used to live there. Say, I'm sick of fighting this. I'm sick of not getting results I want. I don't want to just learn more. I want to break through.
The attitude that I started attacking things that I was scared.
I have no fear of opponent in front of me. That I am very self-sufficient. That they do not bother me. And that should I fight, should I do anything, I have made up my mind, and that's it, baby. You better kill me before.
Overwhelm, you got to first own the fact that you've identified that as the way that you live. You've actually, I always tell people, you get what you tolerate. And so you've gotten used to tolerating that, and you start thinking, this is me, when all it is a habit. It's a habit of the way of looking at life. It's a habit of how you use your body. It's a habit of language that you use. Because certain words, when you use them, you become that. I really believe what you've got to do is train yourself. Train yourself physically. It's like working out. You know, people say, don't you have bad days? Of course I get pissed off, I get frustrated, I feel sad, I do all those things, but I don't stay there. I used to live there. I used to be depressed all the time. I never get depressed now because, not because I'm so positive, it's not fake. It's like a muscle. You know, you can train yourself to get frustrated by doing it all the time. You can train yourself to be stressed out. You can train yourself to feel sad by doing it so often. We get wired. The more we do something, the more wired we get. You can train yourself to feel passionate. You can train yourself to feel strong. And I tell people, don't settle. Remember, you get what you tolerate. Put yourself in gear. Go for a workout. Start to train your body and your mind. And also find something you want to serve greater than yourself. Because if you're just doing this for you, you're going to probably have bad days. But if you're doing it for your family, if you're doing it for your community, if you're doing it for humanity, you really are, and it isn't bullshit, you're going to find a level of energy inside you. You're going to get insights you never have. I really believe motive does matter. If your motive's just for yourself, you don't get much insight. Life supports you because you're part of life. But if you're trying to support more than yourself, when you get a vision, that's how businesses grow. That's how movements happen, right? Find something big in yourself to serve, and make sure that you don't tolerate weakness in yourself. That doesn't mean you're not to feel sad, but you're not just going to stay there because you made that decision. Life's too short to feel like crap. I've decided I want to live in a beautiful state for the rest of my life. That doesn't mean I won't feel bad. It means I won't stay there because I'm in control and I can change it. So can you.
I'm motivated by fear.
Fear.
You know?
Fear of what?
Fear of fear. I hate being scared to do something.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling of the feeling that I had before I had a meeting with Quincy Jones, because it was really Quincy Jones and a guy named Benny Medina and Jeff Pollock came with the idea for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I hated being scared, you know, that I didn't want to even take the meeting. There were opportunities during when my first year as a rapper. Bill Cosby and the people on the Cosby Show had seen my music video and called me to
be a character
to come and try out for the Cosby Show. And just every time it was set up, for some reason I couldn't make it.
The fear of fear.
The fear. I just hated that, being scared to do something. And I think what developed in my early days was the attitude that I started attacking things that I was scared.
Here's what it is briefly. Breakthrough. What is a breakthrough, by the way, so we're clear? If you say you're having a breakthrough, who's ever had a breakthrough? You fought, and then you had a breakthrough. Who's had this happen before? Say I. A breakthrough is when there's something you struggle with for a long time. You say you're going to change. You say you're going to make it happen. You're going to lose that weight. You're going to grow your revenues. You're going to make that profit. You're going to make something happen. You're going to find that relationship. You're going to stop smoking, and you get right near the edge, and then you pull back. Who's done this multiple times before, but then finally had a breakthrough? You broke through and actually changed it. Say I. So jot down what a breakthrough is, and let me give you the 3 steps of it. A breakthrough is a moment in time. That's what it is. It's a moment in time. It's a moment where suddenly what was impossible becomes possible. And what makes it possible is you take immediate, massive what? Immediate, massive what? Action. For that to happen, for the impossible to become possible, and for you to have action that's going to get results, really, I found over the years, any kind of breakthrough that you're going to have requires 3 things to it. And if you never see me again, and you're ever in a place where you say, I'm sick of fighting this, I'm sick of not getting results I want, I don't want to just learn more, I want to break through. If you remember this and go back to this simple formula, and by the way, I've made this simple purposely. You know why? Complexity is the enemy of execution. The more complex you make it, the less likely you're going to execute. I'm so good at getting people to do things because I make it so damn simple, you can't miss it. So let's do it. What's it going to take to have a breakthrough? Before I tell you, let's have you think of an area where you once fought and you finally had a breakthrough. For you personally, what's an area where you pushed and pushed and pushed, you couldn't do it, and you finally made yourself do it and broke through? How many can think of a specific area of your life where you actually did create a breakthrough? Say I, if you can remember one. Oh, say it strong. Say I. Say I. What was that area? Say it out loud. What was the area? Just say it out loud. What area did you break through in? Say it out loud. What was the area? Okay? So now, you've had success before. Let's do it again. I'm going to show you the 3 things you need for a breakthrough. Any one of the 3 can do it. All 3 of them together, you will absolutely break through. And I'm going to give them to you in reverse order of importance, meaning I'm going to tell you the least important thing first because it's the first thing most of you go for. It's not the most important, but it's very important. Now, before I do it, I want you right now to think of an area you want to break through right now. What's an area of your life right now that you'd like to create a breakthrough? How many can think of something you came here for? I want to change this. I want to rip this open. I want to transform this. I want to master this. Who's got an area of your life right now? Great. Sit up in your chair with some energy right now. Sit up in your chair. Make sure the people on either side of you are in a peak state right now. Come on, get them up in a peak state. Show them what a peak state looks like by your example. Come on now. Come on now. Wake it up. Come on. Wake them up. Wake them up. Come on. Oh, yes. All right. Right now, pick an area you want to create a breakthrough in. What's an area you want to create a breakthrough in? Money, finance. Great. What specifically do you want to create a breakthrough about money or finance? I'd like some money. Now here's the problem. Ask and you shall. So if she says I'd like some money, I could give her $1 and go, okay, now you got some money. Let's move on. If you're that general, you're probably getting what you're asking for. You just don't realize it because you're too general. What's the breakthrough you want with money? To be able to travel the world. And what prevents that from happening now? Money. So we now know what a real problem is. I'm going to show you what a real problem is in a moment. Somebody else, what's the breakthrough you want? What's the breakthrough? Tell me. Raise your hand. What's the breakthrough? What's the breakthrough you want, sir? What is it? To be a leader for my family. What's preventing you from being a leader for your family? My mindset. What specific mindset? What focus? I'm just not focused enough. Now, I want you to listen to people's answers because you're going to see why people aren't changing because it's so general. Someone else, be honest. What's the area you want to break through in? Yes, ma'am. What do you want to break through in? She goes, I want to break through in clarity of what I want to do with my career. What do you want to do with your career? You don't know. I know you don't know, but if you did know and had to tell me right now, what would you say? I want to be up there talking to thousands of people. She doesn't know, and then when I say, I know you don't know, what's the answer? She fucking tells me the answer instantly. She just has a habit of saying, I don't know. And when you say, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, over and over again, you tell yourself a story, you begin to believe that story. And once you believe it, it's manifest. How many of you have ever had, when you're a kid, you're eating dinner, your parent says to you, could you get me the salt? And you're enjoying your meal, you don't want to get up, so you don't lie. You say, I don't know where the salt is. It's not a lie. You don't know its exact position in this moment of time. And your parent says, you know where it's in the kitchen. You go, I don't know where the salt is. You go get me I don't know, you get me the salt right now. What do you say in your head? As you walk in the kitchen, I don't know where the salt is, I don't know where the salt is, I don't know where the salt is. You open the cabinet, really do look. It's not here. It's on the second shelf, they tell you. And you think, I don't know where the salt is, I don't know where the salt is. You look and say, it's not here. They come storming the kitchen, they reach right in front of your face, and they go, what is this? Who's ever had one of these experiences? Say, I. Now here's my question. Did your eyes see the salt, yes or no? Yes, your eyes saw the salt, but your mind did not allow you to perceive the salt because you told yourself a story over and over again, a belief over and over again, and it didn't want to make you a liar with yourself, so you created what's called a scotoma, or a blind spot. Now, if you listen to all the people here, they're all searching, so let me give you the answer. 3 keys to a breakthrough. Think of the area you want to have a breakthrough in right now. Your body, your money, your relationships, your career, your business, your joy, your happiness, and let's look at what your choices are. First element, there are 3 S's for a breakthrough. First element most people are looking for is they're looking for the right strategy. They're saying, if I could find the right strategy, I could get this result right now. And by the way, my life, I am a life and business strategist. All I do virtually is seek out the world for fine strategies. I find people have been together for 60 years and they don't just love each other, they're intimate, they're passionate, they make love. And I want to know, what do they have different than other people? And I don't think it's luck, and I know it's not luck, and I figure out what their strategies are. They do things that excite each other. And I find out what those things are, and you can put them in anybody's relationship and it's reignited. I find people, I just got done doing a 4-year project where I interviewed 50 of the most wealthy human beings on earth, the greatest investors in history. And these are all people that started with nothing and became multi-billionaires. And I interviewed them, put it inside the book, the very best of what I've learned. I got a PhD from the people that control the world economy, from the Warren Buffetts of the world, from the Ray Dalias of the world. And once I knew what their strategies are, like right now, one of the strategies I put in my book, it's called Money Master the Game. And I believe it's in Australia now. I think it's coming. Is it here yet? A few of you have seen here? In this book, I got one of them to actually give me his strategy, and this man named Ray Dalio. He's the largest hedge fund in the world. This is a guy that rich people, they have money to give to a hedge fund guy. The big hedge funds are 15 billion. Ray is 160 billion. He's 10 times larger than anyone on earth. You have to have $1 billion net worth and give him $100 million 10 years ago to even begin investing with him. Now he doesn't care how much money you have, he won't take your money. And I got him to give me the strategy that he has all of his personal money and he's never told it to anyone on earth, and I put it in the book because I convinced him you're not taking anybody's money anyway, so you're not getting, all the money you could ever take, you're taking, you're giving up half your net worth. I'm going to give this to the average person. Anybody that followed the strategy last year beat the stock market. The stock market in the US was 13.2, it did 15.6. In October last year, his strategy, not mine, I just got it from him. The stock market, the Dow dropped 1,000 points in 1 month. It dropped 6%. This went up 0.2%. First 7 days of this year, the market was down 3%. This is up 1%. Right now, it's up 3.5%. The market's up, 2.25%. And in the last 75 years, it's made money 85% of the time. Imagine. And when it lost, it only lost 1.6%. And when it wins an average of 10%. If you could go to Vegas and win 85% of the time at 10% and lose 15% of the time, how often would you fucking play? And it's in the book. That strategy you do once a year, you rebalance it, and you're done. That's how powerful it is. And it's only not worked twice, 2008 and in 1932. And in both cases, it did twice as good as everything else, but it did lose money. Now, that's the power of a fucking strategy. But getting it from the best on earth, that's what I do. Now to do that, I spent time, energy, money, effort. It didn't interrupt me. I had to pursue it. I had to expect no answers, but I want the answer, and I got it. So I know the power of strategies if anybody else does. But I want to tell you, most of you want to lose weight, you're looking for the strategy. You want a relationship, you're looking for the strategy. You look at business, you want your strategy. All good things. The right strategy, save you years, save you decades. Convert results in minutes that you would have struggled for forever. So I know the value of strategies. But with all that I just said about strategies, they're not the most important piece to a breakthrough. Because think about it, 70% of the United States is overweight. I don't know the current number in Australia, but it's starting to catch up to the US. Most of the world is catching up to the US. We've polluted everybody else with the same lifestyle. And so guess what? Is it really that hard to be fit and strong? Is it so complex that you'll never understand it? Is that why? Is the strategy complex for fit and strength, to be fit and strong, yes or no? Is it like so unique and special that only the 1% can afford it? No. In fact, don't you have to work your ass off to avoid the information that can make you fit and strong? In fact, today, God forbid, if you wanted to go work out and be trained, how far would I have to leave this building to get to a place where they would train me? How far? There's one right over there, isn't there? And we'd probably drive there. God forbid we'd actually walk to the place we're going to work out and shit, right? And oh, by the way, you don't have to do that. Now you can take out your phone or your iPad right now and download 10 books. We're living in a world where the strategies are all around you. So strategy may be your problem. Often it is, but more often you're missing the number 2 thing you need, and that is the right story. Because the story you have about your life, or about your business, about the area of your life that's not where you want, the area you're breaking through, your story is what's making you be stuck. What's a story? It's a belief that you tell yourself over and over again, like, I don't know what the salt is, I don't know what the salt is. And you tell the story so often you believe it. A man once said, you tell a lie big enough, loud enough, and long enough, sooner or later people will believe you. Who said that? Hitler. And most of us are Hitler in our own minds. We convince ourselves of challenges. So when a person says, well, you know, I've tried, someone who hasn't lost weight, they'll say, I've tried. Come on, what do they say? I tried everything. Bullshit. If you tried everything, you'd be fit and strong. Well, I've tried thousands of ways. Thousands? Name them. Well, I've tried hundreds, name them. Well, I've tried dozens, name them. Well, I did do these 2 stupid things that don't work over and over again. Mine was, I'm big boned. I am big boned, but I was 38 pounds heavier with the same bones. So we often say things that are true to back things up. They are true, you're big boned, but that is not why you're fat, right? So the story keeps us from it. If you don't have the relationship you want, what's the story? All the good ones are gone, and they're gay and I'm not, or they're not gay and I am. That's the story. The story is there. In fact, write this down. The only thing keeping you from getting what you want, the only thing keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself about why you don't have it. The only thing keeping you from getting what you really want is the story you keep telling yourself about why you don't have it yet. Here's what I say. Divorce your story and marry the truth. Divorce your story and marry the truth. And don't make it one of those divorces where you revisit with your old past belief system again. Divorce it, cut it off, and marry the truth. The truth will set you what? But you got to develop the empowering story, because without that, now some of you think an empowering story is the one that allows you to keep going at what doesn't work. I'm not talking about a story where you cover your ass and explain that you're still going to achieve what you want someday in the future, because no one can argue with that because the future's not here, but really you're not doing anything to change significant. Who knows what I'm talking about here? Say I. So you've got to find a story that's going to empower you to act, a story that's going to get you to find the breakthrough, because otherwise, with a lousy story, you'll never find the strategy, or you'll come up with a reason why it's too expensive, you can't get there, you can't access it, or you'll even get the strategy and then half-assed apply it just so you can reward your story that says it doesn't work because I tried it. Like, it's all bullshit, it's bullshit, it's bullshit, it's bullshit. Jumping and doing something different in your head. Of course it's not going to work, you're not doing it. It's self-fulfilling. How many follow this? Say I. So I want you to get, this is the secret. And by the way, I don't want to make it so strategy doesn't matter, because it does. Let me give you a quick example. Is there a single guy here? Raise your hand if you're a single guy. Let me just see a quick example. Single guys here. And if you're a single guy, raise your hand. I've got so many good examples here. All right, single guys, single guys. Okay, so how about this gentleman right here? Stand up, sir. Give him a hand. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, give it up in an Aussie hand. All right. What's your name? What is it? Jesse. Jesse, I'm going to get your microphone. Jesse, I bet you're going to get this, because Jesse's, he's a good kid. You can feel him. So I think you're going to get the answer. So it'll probably be anticlimactic, but let me just ask you. Jesse, I want you to imagine that you're driving in your car with a girl you're dating. Yeah. And as you're driving, she says to you, Jesse, do you need to stop to pee? And you know you don't. What do you say?
Well, I don't need to pee. Like,
I don't need to pee.
What a weird thing to ask.
I don't need to pee. Now, ladies, how do you feel when you ask the guy, do you need to pee? Do you need to stop to get a drink? And he just goes, no. Ladies, make a sound of how that makes you feel. Make a sound. Go. Oh, come on. Make it loud so he hears it. Go. One more time.
Do I need to ask if she needs to pee? So.
It's a quick study. Here's what you're missing. This is why you're single. When a woman asks, do you need to stop for a drink, you need to pee, women don't really mean what they say. They give you clues and want you to be a detective and uncover what they mean, because this proves that you really care. It's quite complex, this shit, but I'm going to educate you right now. So when she says, do you need to stop to pee, your response should never be no, because you don't have to pee, or yes, because you have to pee. Your response should always be, honey, do you need to pee? And then she'll say, I don't know, because women need to talk to see if they have to pee. They have to speak and then see if they have to do it. And then she'll probably pause and you go, you know, honey, I think we should stop. Don't make her say yes, you just make it happen. Now, ladies, if you did that, give him a little response. So is this man is this a good young man? Is he yes or no? Is he nice? Is he sweet? Is he kind? He just doesn't fucking know that women don't mean what they say. So he doesn't have the right strategy, so she's gonna be pissed at him. How many guys have ever had a woman suddenly be pissed at you and you're going, I did nothing? Gentlemen, make some noise. Make some noise if it's true. You don't have to do anything. They just get to change states. So what you have to do is read the tea leaves. Now, to be fair, let's give Jesse a big hand. Give him a big hand. To be fair, let's balance it out. Where is a single lady in here? Single lady, raise your hand. Single women, raise your hand. Oh, come on, there's more single ladies than that. Single ladies, single ladies, single ladies, single ladies, so many. Single ladies. Okay. So many great choices. So many choices. Okay. All right, give her a hand. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name's Liz. I'm from Sydney.
It's Liz from Sydney, ladies and gentlemen. No, you didn't hear me. I said it's Liz from Sydney. Let me hear you. Okay, Liz, I'm going to give you a little test. You find a man very attractive. You're very interested in him. You develop the courage to go up to him, start a conversation, and then you say to him, hey, listen, would you like to have lunch maybe next Thursday? And he says, no.
Right.
What does it mean?
Probably.
Honestly, what does it mean? What does your gut say it means? First, he says no.
He's not interested.
He what?
He's not interested. He doesn't want to have lunch with me.
He's not interested. Now, he said no, and then she made up a whole fucking story in her head. This is what women do. What else do you tell you? He's not interested? What else do you think? He's probably
got a girlfriend.
Got a girlfriend. Fucking gay.
Gay.
Yeah? Right? Gay, girlfriend. What else?
He's stupid.
He's stupid. Okay, now I want you to notice why she's single. Because all he said was no. So I'm going to help you. In the women's world, they say shit and you have to make it up what it means. In a man's world, we actually say what we fucking mean. It's fucking crazy. If a guy, guys, are you with me? If a guy says to me, do you have lunch on Thursday? And I say, no, guys, what does it fucking mean? What does it mean? Just means no. It doesn't mean I'm not into you. Doesn't mean I'm having sex with someone else. Doesn't mean I'm gay. It just means no to fucking Thursday.
How about Friday?
Give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Give her a hand.
Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes it brighter. What does keep it lighter? Doesn't mean I'm over. 'Cause you know what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Can you see how her story would get in the way of a strategy that would work? Yes or no? Can you see how his strategy, lack of understanding, would make women make up a story about him at times? Yes or no? So they all affect each other, don't they? But the glue that holds you in place is the story. If you want to grow a business, I can teach you a million strategies that will change you overnight. And if I get you to use a strategy and grow your business 30% like that, you are going to get so excited that your story about your business will change, won't it? You're like, I can rip this open. I'm going to make this thing 100% more profitable. That's why 80% of those people, I can grow them 30 to 130%. Because once I get them to have momentum, people's story changes. And when their story changes, the third and most important thing changes, their state. Because that's what really changes it all. And that's why when I first came in the audience, I was listening what you wanted, why I changed all my content today to give you what I delivered. Because I realized since you want so many different things, to have a breakthrough, the most important one is staying.
He's the most inspiring man I've ever met in my life, you know, on every level. He understands the heart and he understands the soul.
There's a moment when you change your life. There's a moment when you make a decision. When you say, I do, I love you, let's begin, I quit, it's over.
I just think Tony's a genius. I truly think he's a genius. He can alter people's lives. And I mean really alter them.
For over 3 decades, Anthony Robbins has touched the lives of millions of people. He's called upon by leaders from every walk of life. He has met, coached, or consulted with U.S. presidents, as well as world statesmen like Nelson Mandela and Mikhail Gorbachev, Princess Diana, and the Dalai Lama. Over 3 million people have attended his seminars from 100 nations around the globe, and over 35 million copies of his programs have been distributed worldwide. The New York Times writes, the world can't get enough of Tony Robbins. Former President Bill Clinton says he has a great gift. He has the gift to inspire. Diane Sawyer asks, what does Tony Robbins have that everyone wants? The answer is, he's got the edge, and he gets results.
Hi, I'm Tony Robbins. Look, this is your opportunity to break through, to change anything that's stopping you and go to the level of life you're really committed to. I'd like to be your personal coach, and you can do it through a dynamic weekend called Unleash the Power Within. Our idea of a real problem is somebody else's idea of their ultimate dream. Your worst problem that you may be fretting about has to be put in perspective. And the season we've entered is winter, metaphorically. Winter, for me, is an exciting time because families get closer, people get back to what's really real. They decide what they're going to discard and get rid of. It's a richer time than almost any other season. Unleash the Power Within is an invitation for you to recognize and uncover and use the powerful resources you already possess. The courage, the determination, the drive to change or to create anything you really want in your life.
It's truly about tapping into your internal strength and utilizing that strength so that you can accomplish everything that you feel you're here to accomplish.
First, you'll learn how to break through the unconscious things that are limiting you, whether it's fear or frustration or just a lack of strategy. You'll have the opportunity to walk across a bed of red-hot coals over 2,000 degrees and see what you're truly capable of achieving. If I can get myself to storm through this fire, what else can I get myself to do? Step 2 is once you overcome that fear, now it becomes about what do I do? What's the strategy? What's the tool that'll get me what I'm after right now? You need to know the cutting-edge strategies in order to save yourself time, not have to reinvent the wheel. I've spent a lifetime modeling the best.
Personally, I took some action that I am so grateful for. I got liquid.
Yeah.
I definitely saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now I'm ready for the next step.
I'm really having a ball, and a business is doing better. I just bought another. That's what I got the most. Feeling of just, wow, you know, it's all well.
Once you've broken through the fear and once you've got the right tools or strategy, now all we got to do is eliminate anything that's stopping you unconsciously. You know, those inner conflicts, those limiting beliefs. And whatever we're thinking is what's shaping us. The only difference between today and, say, 3 or 4 weeks ago is some emotional states, isn't it true? I mean, the markets had the same problems a month ago. We had the same inequities in terms of financing. All those things were there. The only difference is we lost a thing called certainty. Finally, the last step is energy. Today, energy is everything. Energy is the edge. If you know what you want to do, but you don't have the energy to follow through, it's not going to happen. And I'm going to show you the tools to increase the energy in your body immediately. It's measurable. You can feel it. It changes your life now. All of us have an area in our life where we get stopped by fear or where we just don't know what to do to turn things around. We get stuck. And for some people, it's the financial area. Some people, their finances are going good, but their relationships are a mess. Some people's finances are great, their career is great, but man, their body is a mess. It's the nature of a human being to do well in some areas and not in others. And I want you to know you can change any pattern in minutes. Here's an example of a man that has had literally 20 plus years of his life stuttering out of control. Just watch how quickly this changes for him.
My name is Rashad. Bill, stuttering has gotten in the way of closing a deal or even to schedule an appointment. I was a stutterer, but now I am Rashad.
Give a hand for Rashad! Your finances can also change in an instant. It all starts with the right mindset that'll move you to action.
My practice has grown. We just had the record month. I feel really abundant. I feel really wealthy.
Yes.
And the dollar amount has nothing to do with it. My relationship with my wife, my relationship with my daughter has just gone through the roof.
Yes.
And life is good.
You got to condition yourself for success, and that means one thing. Every time you get up, make it your goal to give much more than anybody would expect to receive from you. If you want to break through the fears that hold you back, if you want to create an unstoppable momentum, if you want to learn the financial strategies and secrets that allow you to take advantage of these tough financial times, and if you're committed to truly feeling alive, to feel that passion and vitality in your life like never before, then come spend a weekend with me, 3.5 days of total immersion, and change your life forever. Are you ready for a new start?
My name is Rashad Bell. I've stuttered for as long as I can remember. My freshman year of college, one of the first courses I took was a speech class, and I froze. The grade I received was an F. I went from a full-time college student on scholarship to stocking shelves on the graveyard shift at minimum wage. The industry I'm in is basically a sales industry, and stuttering has gotten in the way of closing a deal or even to schedule an appointment. I could have a more successful career if I spoke fluently.
Tony, it would mean so much to me if you could help Rashad with his stutter. He's such an incredible man, and I know that there's so much more potential than he has. Every day is a struggle for him. His stutter holds him back a lot and makes him question himself. It's so hard because I can't do anything about it. Tony, if you could help, that would just mean so much to me and to our family.
Rashad, nice to meet you.
Thank you too.
Well, tell me a little bit, if you would, about what's going on in your life. I understand you're having difficulty in terms of a speech impediment or stuttering.
I just know in my life I rejected it. I was ashamed of it. I drew back and was extremely introverted, but accepted.
You've gone through several stages that are perfect stages. You've gone through ashamed, you've gone through rejection, and you've gone through acceptance. You've accepted this experience. Now that you've accepted it, you're going to eliminate it.
Yeah, sign me up for that right now.
Okay, now I want you to notice what you just said. Do that exactly like you said. Yeah, sign me up for that right now. Say that again.
Yes, sign me up for that right now.
Now, you just spoke perfectly. Now, there were other parts of your speech that were perfect as well, but you just demonstrated what I'm going to show you. It's hard as human beings to figure out what makes people do what they do, but because I spent 30 years in 100 countries with more than 3.5 million people, at this point I could be an idiot, and I'd have to see there's patterns that make people crazy, that make people happy, that make them fulfilled, that make them stutter. Once you know what the pattern is, it's so easy to change. Almost every unconscious pattern happened a long time ago when we make a decision about something. We model something. We model a behavior or we reject a behavior. It goes deep in our unconscious and becomes a pattern to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. When did you start stuttering? Tell me the moment. What's your earliest memory? What's your earliest memory in life? Take a moment. Your earliest memory in life.
Probably 2 years old. Got up on a Saturday watching cartoons and eating cereal. I believe it was Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And Bullwinkle, does he have a stutter? Rocky?
Wow.
And that's your earliest memory. And when Bullwinkle got himself in trouble, how did he get out of trouble when somebody was going to like torture him or do something bad to him?
He would scream out, Rocky, right?
And he always stuttered when he said it. So I want you to do this. All patterns like that happen because you've forgotten something that happened right before that moment. And now you're locked in by the pattern. There's a decision you made or something you experienced or life was very different right before that moment. Go back to right before that moment and I want you to recapture what you forgot.
My parents were probably arguing. That happened quite often, like to the point where my dad got physical.
And you didn't know what to do, did you?
Needed clarity and assurance.
Yeah. Did you get it?
I guess I got that from, hey, Rocky. Yes.
Because the one thing Rocky always responded to was,
okay, help.
But not just to cry for help. A stuttering cry for help. Even a child who can't consciously understand it, who feels helpless, will find a way to intervene and stop pain going between those he loves. And one of the ways to do that is create a new problem. So you found a way to protect your mother, stop your father from beating her, and it worked. That was perfect for a 2-year-old. Not good for a 30-year-old Rashad.
Right.
So now what? Do we stay 2?
No, we don't stay 2. We don't stay 2.
You're a man, you're 30 years old, you've lived life, you've been through all kinds of stuff. There's a warrior in you, Rashad. Feel him and where he is. Breathe him in. The warrior is the one who can face anything and storm through it. The warrior, once he sets his mind to it, he will do whatever battle is necessary for his wife, for his family, for himself. Make the sound of the warrior. The first sound that comes to you, make the sound. Make the sound of the warrior. The warrior does not stutter. Ever. Own the warrior. Tell me what the warrior says now.
The warrior says, I am free.
The warrior says.
The warrior says, I am brilliant.
That's right. The warrior says.
The warrior says that I am electric.
The warrior says.
I am awesome.
Ask the warrior, do you need to stutter anymore?
No. Wow. That was awesome.
You're awesome.
Thank you. Wow. So, what's next, Coach?
Give him a hand, Rashad, ladies and gentlemen. Rashad. Give it up for Rashad. Whoa. Whoa. Just a quick question. Would you just share, Rashad, what was going on before and what's changed for you?
Tony, it's just been locked up inside of me forever. I've had a speech impediment. I've stuttered my entire life. Guys, 30 years of stuttering, stammering, but that was the condition that I chose. I chose to stay there. I chose to identify as a stutterer. Because why? I was afraid of greatness. I was afraid of my light shining. But no more. Because today, I am the voice. Today, I am the warrior. Today, lives will be changed. Today, I saw this moment as a child. I knew that I would be on stage talking to countless of thousands of people. Thank you for the pain. Thank you for the obstacle, because that brought me here today to talk to you, to give you my story, to give you me. Now you got me, now get you, and do it.
I really wanted to follow up on a bit more on this $1 Million Day. Because, I mean, it really changed your industry. It was the 4-minute mile. Nobody thought it was possible. And I think there's a lot of people at home that, you know, they want to change their life. They have a vision of what they want to make happen. And they believe it, sort of, but they never follow through. And so I'd love to kind of get a sense of how did you get to the point where, you know, you make $1 million in, you know, was it less than 24 hours?
Yeah, it was like 18 hours.
In 18 hours, you make $1 million. I mean, it's beyond most people's imagination.
Yeah, and I think up until that point, the industry, the kind of record or whatever, the big thing that was thought of was like $100,000 in a 24-hour period.
Wow.
So
you took it 10x.
Yeah, so it was August 17th, 2004. I'll never forget that date. One, because when I lived in Orlando at the time, there was a hurricane, Hurricane Charlie, that just annihilated Central Florida, cut out all my power. And I actually had to break my garage door to get my car out. Me and a friend drove from my place a couple hours north to where my parents lived to actually manage the launch day of that project that was happening like the next day. And it's pretty interesting. It's almost like divine intervention, because looking back on it, you know, no one knew for sure how great that day was going to turn out. Right. I, of course, believe big, and we can talk about that a little bit. Right. But we can walk a little bit. Sure. The neat thing for me was, and just reflecting on when that happened with the hurricane and everything else, was that I ended up getting to share that major day and accomplishment with my family, who was always very, very supportive of me, even when I was in over $100,000 of debt by the time I was 23 years old. Right. You know, they
trying to do this very thing, failing at it, right?
Yeah, you know, they had given me a little bit of money, and even when I was in a lot of debt, they gave me a little bit more money. Not a lot, but just trying to help me until they could no longer help me anymore, and I had to figure things out on my own just because they weren't in that position. But so anyways, just mentioning that, it was great to be able to share that accomplishment and have them be a part of it. My dad actually managed a little whiteboard that showed how many sales, you know, before before the whole sale started. I said, this is the goal for us. You know, we're going for $1 million in the launch day for 24 hours, because it's never been done anything like it. And so we wrote on the board exactly how many sales were needed to reach the goal.
So you broke it down.
Yeah, and every hour I'd report to my dad, and he'd ask for the update, and he was so proud managing the whiteboard, changing the number of how many more were to go. Right. And it was just an exciting day all the way around. But
and none of that would happen if you hadn't had the hurricane coming in. You would have been by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And who knows, maybe it never would have happened because of just, you know, the circumstances.
That's very cool.
But yeah, it's interesting that that $1 million day really changed a lot of people's mindsets. You know, people have compared it to like the 4-minute mile.
Right.
You know, Roger Bannister, and you know, you were telling me off camera how many people broke the 4-minute mile once he did it.
Well, somebody said 37. The real number is 24. 24 people within a year for thousands of years. This wasn't something that happened for 100 years. In the Roman times, they're trying to do a 4-minute mile. It was thought the human body couldn't physically go that fast. They would even put a guy with a rope with a bull behind him to give him extra incentive so he wouldn't get gored, and it would happen. But Roger Bannister ran that 4-minute mile by rehearsing it in his head. He could never get his body to move that fast, so in his mind he saw it over and over and over again until he got this little sense of certainty and kicked it over the edge. But the kicker is, just like you in your industry, once that happened, 24 people run a 4-minute mile within a few years, and now high school students run 4-minute miles.
Right.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And now here, you know, filming this in 2009, 5 years later, a little less than 5 years, you know, not only has that, you know, $1 Million Day been done by multiple people, I've actually done it several times myself now, again, but other people have gone way beyond that. You know, Frank has been involved with a massive day, many times that. But it was like a huge mindset shift in people to make that happen.
So let's talk about that, because everybody has mindset. You know, people watching say, okay,
beliefs,
it's really,
like
they're going to go, wonderful, you had $1 million day. Jerk, I've never even had a $10,000 day, right?
Absolutely.
So what I wanted to get across, though, is you knew exactly what you're going after. You had absolute certainty you're going to find a way to make it happen. You envisioned it.
A week before, and this is, anyone can look this up online, a week before the launch day, I registered the internet domain name milliondollarday.com.
Wow.
And it's fact. It is registered. People can go and look it up right now about what the date was when it was registered, and it would have been like August 10th because the launch was a week later on the 17th.
So this is what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
You had this vision, you made it so clear and real in your mind, so certain, and then you found a way to execute, and you had some grace, right? There's a little bit of luck and a little grace involved. So it's like, what do? You have to have three things. You have to have this absolute obsession on what you want, even if it's never done before. You got to get yourself so certain. You got to secondly execute, because you still have to execute.
Right.
And then you have to have some grace, and those three things work. But I want to get across something else. Before you had $1 Million Day, what was like a giant peak for you? Didn't you have like $100,000?
Yeah, well, about 3 months before that.
Come sit down by the fire.
Sure.
We'll sit down. I want to hear that.
So about 3 months before that, a mutual friend of ours, Jeff Walker.
Right, I know Jeff.
Who, Jeff, it's kind of a funny story because Jeff was known, you know, Jeff orchestrates product launches. He had a lot of experience with it, more than anyone else in our industry.
Right.
And at the time, back then, Jeff was known, he was called 6 and 7. That was his little code name, because he made 6 figures in 7 days.
Right.
And so I was getting ready to do a seminar, my own event. And up until this point, it's been the only one I ever did. Frank actually got me to do it.
Right.
And I never sold anything to the internet marketing market. He said, you know, you really should just do an event. People would love to hear just you teach for a weekend. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Right.
So before releasing it for sale, I was talking to Jeff on the phone. We'd become friends at that time. And Jeff was sharing some principles with me on building anticipation in marketing. You know, not just coming out with something for sale, building up to it. You know, it's just like the music industry. When they release an album, you know, they let you know months in advance, or a movie comes out. You know, so Jeff taught me some principles about building anticipation, and so I put that into my marketing with everything else that I had kind of figured out from my own experience.
Right.
I released the seminar. And I ended up doing like, it was like $100,000 that was made in the first day, but it really all came in like the first 12 minutes before I took the site down.
Wow.
You know, I mean, it wasn't going to do much more than that if I would have left it up. But so I teased Jeff. I was like, you know, you did 100,000 in 7 days. I did it in 12 minutes. And so, you know, all of us are we're real good friends. It's competitive. We support each other. And, you know, I was thrilled when Frank broke my record after I did $1 Million Day. And, you know, and so we're very supportive of each other and of anyone in the industry, because it doesn't take anything away from me. It's good for them. So that happened. So I had that milestone of $100,000.
And part of what drove you in each of these cases was one to set the standard higher. That's what all of you guys are doing. You
like
love
stairs.
each other.
You go higher and higher steps.
So do me a favor, because a lot of people go, okay, you blew me away with $1 million in you know, less than 24 hours. You know, 100,000 in 12 minutes.
Right.
But before you ever got there were lower stairs.
Sure.
Bring me down, because you didn't go straight to the moon. You could do it today because you've demonstrated it, right?
Absolutely.
It's like the 4-minute mile.
Absolutely.
But where did it start even earlier for you? Before you got